noticed that I did want to base a lot of it around actual historical things. This musical basically wrote itself because there were actually like hundreds of songs that were written about women wearing pants in 1895 because it was like a huge deal. And so 3 of the songs we're going to sing are actually from the years 1894 and 1895. And those are the songs The Bicycle Girl, which we're going to like speak some of it and sing some of it, but whatever. And the song Sleep My Bicycle and also Daisy Bell are actually from the 1800s. I also threw in a little bit of Victorian-era slang, which I hope you'll be able to get through context clues. And what else is historically accurate? There was one other thing I wanted to say. Oh yeah, we're going to do scene changes by listing off from a list of cycling don'ts for women that appeared in a newspaper in Nebraska in 1895. 1895 was a really big year for like women wearing pants and cycling. That was like what was happening that year. Yeah, this musical, I've been wanting to like perform this for 5 years. It's gonna be kind of rough because I like live in Olympia and I came down and we just had time for like 2 practices, but it's still gonna be really fun even though there's like not music to it and everything's gonna be a little janky, but it's still gonna be so fun and I'm so glad we're like all on this journey together. And I want to bring it down a little bit and first of all just acknowledge the thing that happened late last night when 50 people were murdered at a gay bar in Orlando. And there's a vigil that is happening right now that we are going to be cycling to as a group after this happens. And I'm really glad that y'all are all here because it's really important to remember that even though pants is like fun and silly, at the end of the day it is a queer story and it's about queer resilience, and it's really important to remember that like queer people have always had a really hard time and they have survived against all odds and done it while singing and dancing, which is what we're going to be doing tonight. And I think that there's room for both laughter and fun and being solemn, and I want to do both of those things tonight. And the other thing that I want to say in kind of a more serious vein is that I want to acknowledge that this play takes place in 1895, Victoria, British Columbia, which was being actively colonized at the time. And that land was being actively stolen from Coast Salish people. And I want to take a moment of silence to acknowledge both the Coast Salish people that the land was stolen from and that we're also performing this play on Chinook land. And you know, history is really complicated. People are being oppressed at the same time that they're doing oppressing. That's happening right now too, where a lot of us are being oppressed while we're oppressors, and our bloodlines and our history are a conglomeration of those 2 realities, and that's important to acknowledge. So if we could just take a moment of silence to remember the indigenous people whose land this is stolen from, and then we're awkwardly going to transition to this musical because, you know, when faced with the horrors of colonialism, all you can do is just really like awkwardly transition into performing the musical. So we're going to take a moment of silence and then we're going to get the play started. So without further ado, pants!
Oh, Sadie, my dearest friend, I'm so looking forward to our weekly Sunday jaunt along the coast. I would much rather be here, reveling in the sunshine and beauty of nature, than sitting in a stuffy old church building.
Ooh, looks like we haven't escaped church just quite yet.
Oh my, what is he doing here? I didn't come to the beach to be proselytized to.
Haven't you heard? Church attendance has become low that preachers become so low that preachers have taken to giving sermons along bicycling routes in hopes that people will listen.
Bicycle?
Oh, he's speaking about bicycles. Let's have a listen, shall we?
Right.
Okay. Thou shalt not eat the bicycle. Well, this past week, Charlotte Smith, a radical advocate for the rights of working women, spoke out against the dangers and the evils of the bicycle. Her critique reads thusly, and I quote, The bicycle is a great curse inflicted upon the people of this country. 75% of participants will be an army of invalids within the next 10 years. It brings on the most appalling diseases among young women. It will prevent motherhood. It's the devil's advance agent, morally and physically, luring young girls into paths that lead directly to sin. Now, most of us would agree that Mrs. Smith is getting a little carried away here. The bicycle has proven to be a healthful and productive hobby for both men and women alike. Although the scientific community has not yet taken a stance on the issue, exercising does not seem to be making women sterile as was previously thought. There's no way for me to know this yet, but I have a feeling that maternal deaths will actually drastically decrease in the coming years. It seems that displacing your internal organs with corsets is not beneficial to childbearing, and perhaps more people will soon shed these cumbersome garments, as they are difficult to bicycle in. And it's mere speculation, but it seems that people who spend more time in the sun are less likely to get rickets, leading to fewer pelvic deformities and maternal deaths. Perhaps men should forego their love of the pasty, white visage which we have come to cherish in our women, and allow them to occasionally go out of doors. Now that the youth are allowed to view the countryside without a chaperone, they do not seem to be jostling off to participate in lustful, satanic rituals. They instead seem to be enjoying the crisp, clear coastal air and scenery. Oh yes, the bicycle does in fact appear to be a vehicle for the betterment of society. However, the youth of today, especially the women, must be diligent to guard your purity and modesty. Thankfully, we are continuing in the civilized tradition of covering from head to toe with wool in the heat of summer, so people will continue to pass out from heat exhaustion, just as the good Lord intended. But many of you know those hideous, dastardly rumors of women wearing pants. Especially in the devil's own kinky private torture chamber, San Francisco. Well, I'm here to tell you today, those rumors are true. Just this past week, Punch magazine published these photos of women's tightly booted ankles, leading men from all over this continent to succumb to uncontrollable desires of the flesh.
The only proper way for a woman to walk about is if we even forget she has legs. She must glide about gracefully as if propelled by magic.
Yes, lady magic. Witchcraft.
Yes.
Now we've already proved the pants on women don't work. Amelia Bloomer premiered her pantsuit 50 years ago during the Civil War. Many of you remember those dark times. People were confused. Women were masquerading as men under a mistaken urge to fight for the unity of the country and equality for all. And all those proper women who served as nurses found it impractical to rescue dying men from the battlefield in 5 layers of petticoats. Yes, bloomers had their heyday. But after the war ended and the smoke settled down, women came back to their senses and regained their proper place by the hearth and home. And all sensible people saw that bloomers were fit only for women given to a natural passion.
Who do these women think they
But
are?
now we see the women are once again usurping the natural order and donning pants. Not in the name of war, but in the name of leisure and personal enjoyment.
Who do these women think they are? Running around wearing pants? We've already given them the home. What are they going to think of next?
Oh, the Bicycle Girl is the latest thing out, published by Women and Co. Of their rights, notable rights in very loose form. Oh, the Bicycle Girl rides.
She rides on the wheel.
On the wheel of in full dress, more or less. She rides on the wheel in full dress.
Oh, the bicycle girl, oh, the bicycle girl. She's bound neck or nothing to go. For she's fast on the wheel and in manner of dress. She isn't by any means slow. Oh no, she isn't by any means slow.
But that is not all. For our gaiters she steals, our neckties she claims as her rights. But she put the last straw on our backs when she stole our small clothes and even our tights. Oh, the frights! Our small clothes and even our tights.
Oh, the bicycle girl, oh, the bicycle girl. She's bound neck or nothing to go. For she's fast on the wheel and in manner of dress. She isn't by any means slow. Oh no, she isn't by any means slow.
Now the eyeglass is all that the bicycle girl has to claim for her own. Oh my. But just give it a matter of time and you'll see she'll take it and stick it in her eye. She'll take it and stick it in her eye.
Oh, the bicycle girl, oh, the bicycle girl. She's bound neck or nothing to go.
For she's fast on the wheel
And in manner of dress. She isn't by any means slow. Oh no, she isn't by any means slow.
ridiculous. Absolutely.
Women wearing pants! Next thing you know, they'll be wanting to wear monocles.
Classical dress that equal vision?
I can't believe that these men get to bubble about in their poorly choreographed musical numbers while we are confined to these cumbersome petticoats.
I know! I just about had it. If I didn't know any better, I would just send off for a bloomer pattern from San Francisco. That would teach them a lesson.
Ethel, I think you might be onto something. Just think, men want us to dress like this all in the name of modesty, when I know that they really just want to get a glimpse of our bare ankles and they get caught in our bicycle gears. Ah, men!
Modesty indeed. Modesty I've tried, but when my gears get caught in petticoats, my skirt grips to my thigh. A proper lady covers from her head down to her toes, with layers upon layers of unnecessary clothes. They say that we're protected from the looks of baser men, but with our frills and bonnets, it just seems we're dressed for them. This modern woman just has had enough of modesty. I'm entering an era where I only dress for me.
Your performance is quite epic and your message full of reason, but remember, consequences often last beyond a season. After donning bloomer garments, men will find you quite disgusting. They will find your great bravado both revolting and insulting. And society's not kind to single women of a certain age. The most we can ever hope for is a quarter of men's wage. Working in a dim-lit factory or wandering the streets will forgo a life of luxury, bonbons and velvet seats. Ethel, is this really worth it? I'm afraid I can't decide if I should wear the pants or just run away and hide.
Well, the decision is yours, but I've been thinking about it for a while now, and I know I would be much happier slaving away in a factory making my own wages than wasting away in someone else's hearth and home. Sadie, I must wear the pants!
Ethel, you're such an inspiration. It's true. Somebody has to set the example. I mean, we could